5 things you do that are instantly ruining your PWC. You have a crush on your personal watercraft, the noise that it makes when it is ready to be used. I was amazed at how quickly it moved ahead the moment you touched the throttle. The sensation of liberation that you get when the sea opens up in front of you. But here is something that the majority of owners would rather not hear. Some of the things that you do on a daily basis, things that appear to be entirely normal, are sneakily causing damage to your personal watercraft. And what is the most frightening aspect of it? In most cases, you won't pay attention until the damage has already been done, and the bill for the repairs appears. Continue to be with me, because by the time you reach the conclusion of this, you will have a complete understanding of the factors that are causing your equipment to malfunction, as well as the means to put a stop to it before it completely destroys your season. Listed below are 5 things that you do that are immediately destroying your personal watercraft. To begin, let's talk about a behavior that almost everyone has been guilty of at least once. The first step is to start the engine or rev it up after it has been removed from the water. There is no danger to it. You merely need to make sure that it is operational. Possibly you give the throttle a slight blip for a moment or two. But here's the truth about what is taking place. The motor of your personal watercraft PWC is cooled by water. This signifies that there is no cooling, and you may not realize how quickly heat may accumulate. The trailer's interior components can become overheated with even a brief rev of the engine. Seals become dry over time. Rubber components become more rigid. Pieces of plastic that are being cooled warp just enough to pose difficulties in the future. When you have completed this task, have you ever detected a stench of burning? Or did you feel the engine getting heated far too quickly? It is not typical wear and tear. Right now, damage is occurring in the here and now. The worst aspect about it all? It takes some time for the damage to become apparent. Several months later, when something breaks and no one is able to link it to the quick test that you performed, it becomes apparent. Ask yourself if it is really worth it to hear it rev for 5 seconds if it will cost you thousands of dollars in repairs later on. Riding hard in shallow water is the second item on the list. It seems that shallow water is safe. It is quiet here. It is in close proximity to the coast. There is a sense of control. But shallow water is a minefield for your personal watercraft PWC. Sand, rocks, shells, and weeds are all things that are sucked directly into your intake from the environment. That grinding sound that you hear every once in a while? In no way is it normal. What you see there is your wear ring being gnawed on. In addition, once that wear ring begins to wear down, performance begins to decline rapidly. It is a loss of acceleration. Your top speed is reduced. There is a decline in fuel economy. Moreover, the ski does not have the same sensation as it did before. Have you ever had the idea happen to you? It doesn't pull like it used to. This is not a product of your thoughts. As a result, the damage is accumulating one ride in shallow water at a time. Moreover, here's the thing. It's possible that you won't feel it right soon. When you are in shallow water, however, every ride is like sandpaper on pricey pieces that you cannot see. If you want to kill your jet pump slowly, is it really worth it to have that sudden blast near shore? Missing out on thorough cleansing following saltwater rides is the third mistake. Those that bike in saltwater should pay close attention to this one. Salt has a cruel nature. While you are pulling the ski out of the water, it will continue to function normally. Even when the ride is finished, it continues to consume, dry out, and corrode without stopping. Salt has the ability to harden inside of cooling channels, exhaust components, and metal fittings if even a single flush is skipped from routine maintenance. In addition, a lot of people believe that they are flushing accurately. However, they are not. It's not enough to have 30 seconds. A single minute is not sufficient. In order for salt to dissolve and be totally removed, time is required. Are you familiar with the sight of a white, crusty buildup on metal components? Already, corrosion is taking place in that area. And once corrosion begins to spread inside the engine, it does so in a stealthy manner. Locks are seized. The tubes that cool are narrow. It is the sensors that fail. Then one day the engine overheats and nobody is able to figure out why it happened. A question for you. Would you expect your hands to be clean after rinsing them with salt for 10 seconds and then expecting them to be clean? Why then would you do that to an engine that is worth thousands of dollars? The fourth example is slamming on the throttle when the engine is still cold. Having this one feels incredible. Initiate the process. Your foot is on the gas pedal, and the PWC moves forward in its journey. On the other hand, cold engines despise this more than virtually anything else. When you first start the engine, the oil has not yet completed its full circulation. Not all of the metal components have expanded to the appropriate operating tolerances. As a result, everything is tense and stressful. When you instantly apply full throttle, you are putting those components under the obligation of working at their utmost capacity before they are ready. Because of this, the pistons, bearings, and cylinder walls experience accelerated wear over the course of time. The failure does not occur immediately. The engine, on the other hand, gradually loses its consistency. A more abrasive tone begins to emerge. Relatively less responsive. It is more difficult to begin. Are you aware that your personal water conditioner, PWC, does not sound as healthy as it did in the past? When this happens, it's typically the result of years of unrelenting torture. It is possible to significantly lengthen the life of the engine by allowing it to warm up for just 1 minute. Therefore, you should question yourself whether it is truly worth it to reduce the lifespan of your engine in order to save 60 seconds. The fifth issue is improper storage between rides or depending on the season. It is the most common cause of damage to personal watercraft, PWCs, yet the majority of owners are unaware of this fact. Having petrol in the tank that has not been treated, the engine is allowed to become saturated with moisture, putting it in a messy parking spot. The battery is being ignored. Fuel degrades much more quickly than you would believe. Ignition injectors and other components become clogged when old fuel is used. The presence of moisture can cause corrosion in areas that are not visible until something stops functioning properly. Not only does a weak battery eventually die, but it also puts a strain on the electronics and charging mechanisms. Soon after spring arrived. Are you ecstatic yet? You are the one who turns the key. It turns at a slow pace. Alternately, it begins and continues to be difficult. Alternately, it does not begin at all. Have you ever pondered the reason behind the persistent issues that your personal watercraft PWC encounters in the beginning of the season? It's not a sign of ill luck. This is the manner in which it was kept. As you walk away, your personal water conditioner will remember how you handled it. This is the question that really matters. The number of these routines that you are familiar with is, how about 2? To all 5. The majority of personal watercraft are not destroyed by a single major error. Small routines that are repeated over and over again are the cause of their demise. What is the good news? It is possible to avoid each and every one of these types of issues. Some patience is required. There is a slight awareness. A few more shrewd behaviors can save you thousands of money and years of frustration over the course of your life. Therefore, the next time you go for a ride, take a moment to pause and ask yourself, the question is whether I am riding this thing like I want it to last, or whether I am progressively ruining the machine that I adore. Your personal watercraft, PWC, will take care of you if you take care of it. Have a good time out on the water. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.